Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ross Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. The wait is over. The will he, won't he situation that has been going on for the past few years with Jim Harbaugh on whether he was going to go to the NFL or stay at the Michigan Wolverines. It's finally done and over with. And the result is that Jim Harbaugh is becoming the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. He's gone at Michigan. That is a tough loss for Michigan fans because they just won the national title. And then right after that, Jim Harbaugh has decided that he is no longer staying in college football and that he wants to go back to the NFL to try to win a Super Bowl. And I had a feeling this was going to happen, and a lot of other people did as well. That if Jim Harbaugh got the goal that he wanted to do at the Michigan Wolverines, being able to win a national title, he was going to go back to the NFL, because what more does he have to accomplish in college football? He's beaten Ohio State 3 years in a row. He was able to win the national title this past season with a lot of returning players and J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards. It goes on and on. Was Michigan going to be able, with the new teams coming into the Big Ten in Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA, and Ohio State looking really good for next year? Michigan's going to be losing a lot of talent to the draft. They already have 20 guys have declared for the NFL draft, and most of them will get drafted. It was going to be very difficult for Jim Harbaugh to continue to replicate the success that Michigan has had the past few seasons. There's a good shot that they wouldn't have been able to beat Ohio State next year, but maybe they will with a new head coach. Who knows? Can't project the future, but it was going to be very tough for Michigan to stay atop the Big Ten and be able to be in contention for another national title with Jim Harbaugh at head coach. With the transfer portal and NIL, it makes college football a lot less stable than it used to be. And that is where I think this makes more sense for Jim Harbaugh to go to the Los Angeles Chargers for a variety of different reasons. Because number one, he's already coached in the NFL before. When you look at the fact that Jim Harbaugh has coached at the San Francisco 49ers and he went to a Super Bowl with the 49ers. Yes, they did not win that Super Bowl, but still, he did a great job there. His record was 44-19-1, and even though he did not make the playoffs in his last season as the head coach of the 49ers and things were going down south during his tenure, it wasn't all on him. They decided to get rid of Jim Harbaugh, and he went back to college football and had a ton of success. It's absolutely insane how well he did at the Michigan Wolverines overall. When you look at it, his record was 86-25 and 60-17 in the Big Ten. I know that's not as good as other coaches like Nick Saban and even Ryan Day at Ohio State. And there were a few seasons like the 2019 and 2020 seasons where Michigan fans were mad at Jim Harbaugh because he was underperforming a bit. He got it together, and he still put up a great record at a school like Michigan that has not won a national title since 1997. And they were really struggling with some of the other coaches that they had, like Rich Rodriguez and others, who were not getting Michigan to the national title level. And Jim Harbaugh was able to get it back. He's been a winner wherever he's been. He also won at Stanford as well and at San Diego in the past. So no one can complain that Jim Harbaugh has not been able to win as a college football head coach or an NFL head coach, because he's done it at both. So the transition over to the NFL does not make this tough for Jim Harbaugh at all whatsoever, because he's coached in the NFL before. He's won a lot in college football, and the fact college football is not as stable as it used to be, with teams being committed to coaches in the portal era and the NIL era, and it's very tough to retain players and keep them when they want more playing time, or maybe NIL is a factor and they transfer somewhere else. So I would say Jim Harbaugh going to the NFL, it's not going to be that more unstable than it would be for him at Michigan. I know it would have been awesome for him to build a dynasty with the Wolverines like Nick Saban did at Alabama and win more titles, but it was going to be tough for Jim Harbaugh to do it. Maybe not impossible, but now that he's going back to the NFL, did he pick the right team? And I believe that out of all the teams available, like the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, and other jobs, the Los Angeles Chargers was basically the best job he could have taken. And for one reason and one reason only, you have Justin Herbert at quarterback. It's a great situation for Jim Harbaugh. He's got the franchise quarterback. Justin Herbert, he puts up great stats. It's the other players on the team that have to get it going for the Los Angeles Chargers. The whole culture in the locker room, the defense, the vibes have to be lifted up, because the Chargers have struggled to win. The end of the Brandon Staley era was very ugly. That loss to the Las Vegas Raiders, where they got blitzed 63-21. That was a terrible loss. The Chargers have way too much talent to be that bad, and Justin Herbert is a really good quarterback. I think that Jim Harbaugh would be able to work with him. I think this is a really good situation for Jim Harbaugh to go to the Los Angeles Chargers. If he was going to go to any team with all of the jobs that are open in this coaching cycle in the NFL this year, the Los Angeles Chargers was the best job for him to take. I don't know if he's going to be able to win a Super Bowl or not. That's too early to tell. He's got a lot of work to do to be able to turn around the Chargers, but it's not a lost cause. They're not like the Carolina Panthers where it's an absolute dumpster fire right now, and they have monumental work to do to turn that around. And David Tepper, the owner, people are mad at him, saying he's making all the wrong moves, and he's making all the Panthers fans angry at him. And taking Bryce Young over CJ Stroud and getting rid of all those draft picks has dug the Panthers into such a big hole. The Chargers don't have that problem because, again, they got the quarterback. They've got other talented players, Bosa on defense, Austin Eckler, but they have to figure out who they got to keep, who they got to get rid of. They've got enough talent, but it's going to take some time. And Jim Harbaugh, he's won it to 49ers. I think he can win at the Chargers if he can build up the morale, build up the fan base back again. And if he can do those things and get that defense rolling a lot better, which Jim Harbaugh has always been known for having his teams in the NFL and in college football having great defenses, then I believe the Los Angeles Chargers made a great decision to hire Jim Harbaugh. And people on Twitter agree. 75% say yes, that it was a great hire. 25% say no. And I also did another poll saying, what do you think Jim Harbaugh should have done? Stayed at Michigan? 33% of people said that. 52% said went to the Chargers was the right decision. And 14% said went to another NFL team. So the consensus is that the Los Angeles Chargers made the right decision to hire Jim Harbaugh. I agree. And if this was a few years ago, I would have said that he should have stayed at Michigan because of the fact college football is a lot more stable than the NFL. But times have changed. College football is just not what it once was for coaches. So I believe because Jim Harbaugh got the ultimate goal that he wanted to win a national title, and with that team that he had, it's going to be very hard to replicate that. I think he made the right decision to go back to the NFL, and the fact that he's not like Nick Saban or Urban Meyer going to the NFL, that was ugly for both of them. They were much better suited for college football. They could not make it in the NFL. Nick Saban and Urban Meyer and a lot of other coaches really struggling in the pros, but Jim Harbaugh will be a success story, I believe, at Los Angeles because of the fact that he knows how to coach in the NFL, and I think that he did go to the right situation. So the Chargers, they have my total endorsement of hiring Jim Harbaugh. But now Michigan's got to figure out what they're going to do, and it looks like they're going after Sharon Moore to be their next head coach. That's not finalized. Those are just sources right now, but it would make sense for them to hire within, especially because Sharon Moore led the Wolverines when Jim Harbaugh was suspended. So we'll have to see what happens there. It's going to be tough for Sharon Moore to continue what Jim Harbaugh did, but if the Michigan Wolverines hire him, I wouldn't think that would be a terrible move, especially this late in the game where there aren't a lot of coaches available for Michigan to hire, especially because most of these other coaches have already inked deals to stay at their current school. So it would be very tough for Michigan to lure a head coach away. So if Sharon Moore is a quick stopgap coach until they can get another head coach, then I believe that would be probably the best decision for the Wolverines to hire him. Hopefully Sharon Moore can have some success and maybe he can be at Michigan for a while. But again, it is very tough for Michigan fans that they lost Jim Harbaugh. I hate it for them, but at least they got their national title. And hopefully for Jim Harbaugh, he can get his Super Bowl that he's looking for in addition to his national championship that he got at Michigan. And then everything Jim Harbaugh wants, he will have achieved. And for Michigan, hopefully they can continue to have success, whether they hire Sharon Moore or somebody else in college football in the future. It's going to be tough. Jim Harbaugh did a great job, but I do believe that the Michigan Wolverines have a shot to be successful in the future without Harbaugh, even though it's going to be tough. And I believe the Los Angeles Chargers made the right decision to hire Jim Harbaugh, and they have a really good shot of being a much improved team in the next few seasons. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about Jim Harbaugh leaving the Michigan Wolverines to become the next head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers in the NFL, and whether you think that Jim Harbaugh made the right decision to leave college football in Michigan to go to the NFL, and whether you think that the Chargers made the right hire and that they will be able to win a lot of games with Harbaugh at head coach, and what you think about the Michigan Wolverines and the future of that program and who they should hire, and whether you think they still can have some success. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.